time for more science. I don't need these gloves. The names 10, 20, 30, 40 volume or 3, 6, 9, and 12% are based on how much oxygen we're able to essentially fit into this solution. There are much higher volumes available. I know that it's pretty common to see 50 volume in some places. The most oxygen you can fit into a solution like this is up to 130 volume. I get commonly asked about 80 or 100 or 60 volume and how they use that in some places. I think one of the misconceptions about that is how it's used, because it became really common to see 80 and 100 volume being used in the salons when balayage first started coming out. Nowadays we have specific clay lighteners with thickeners in them. We have clay additives for things like Lightmaster. But the way that balayage was mixed in the beginning was a very high concentration of my Lightner powder and a low concentration of the developer. Well, how does this affect it, and how does that make something like 100 volume safe? I want to talk a little bit about something today: effective working volume. That is the difference between what is in our bottle and what's written on the bottle and what is actually in our bowl once we mix it. Get ready to do some math. Effective working volume means once I've mixed up my product, what volume developer am I actually working with in the bowl? For example, if you watch the video on what if I run out of 20 volume, we learned how to reduce the higher volumes down to the lower volumes and really manipulate our developer like that. Anything that's not developer that we have to work with in a normal colorist palette is pretty much going to be 0 volume. So if I mix up permanent hair color on a ratio of 1:1 with my developer in the bowl, what I'm working with in the bowl is not the thing that I poured out of the bottle. What I'm working with in the bowl is a combination of my product and the developer. What have I diluted the developer down to? So if I did 1 part permanent hair color and 1 part 20 volume and mix them up, it's the same math that we would do in order to reduce our volumes.
Math.
So that means 1 part plus 1 part equals 2 parts. 20 volume divided by 2 is 10. So my effective working volume of 20 volume on a ratio of 1:1 in the bowl is 10 volume. That's what I'm actually working with in the bowl. So then when it comes to developer to Lightner ratio, it's the same exact thing. So if I were to use 1 part 10 volume and 1 part Lightner in my bowl, my effective working volume is 5. Most professional lighteners, you're going to have to read your manufacturer's instructions, but most of the ones I've worked with are a ratio of 2:1. So that would be 2 parts 10 volume plus 1 part Lightner. That equals 3 parts. In the bowl, I'm working with something roughly about 7 volume. The higher our concentration of this to a reasonable degree, the more active a product we're going to get. If we take that to the extreme and mix something to a very dry ratio, then we're going to have a less active developer. For instance, let's say I'm doing a classic balayage. Before the invention of clay lighteners, I just want like a really dry product that's going to work quickly before it dries out completely. If I were to take 1 part 100 volume developer plus 4 parts Lightner, that's going to equal 5 parts altogether. So I'm going to take my 100 volume, divide it by 5. In the bowl, I have 20 volume. I have something very, very dry, but it's also not as scary as thinking of using 100 volume on the head. So 1 part 100 volume plus 4 parts Lightner would have an equal effective working volume as 1 part 40 volume, 1 part Lightner. 1 part 40 volume plus 1 part Lightner equals 2 parts. We divide 40 by 2 parts, 20 volume in the bowl. It's all about knowing how to manipulate things and use them safely.
Math.
Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, you enjoy being nerdy about hair and hearing the occasional dad joke, go ahead and check out another one of my videos. If you want to see them as soon as they come out, go ahead and click subscribe. Feel free to share this video with any of your nerdy friends. I'll see you next time. Thanks.